to reform Washington, to reform the government. She kept using the word reform. You have been in Washington, Senator, for 22 years as a congressman and a senator. The Republicans have been in power for the last 8 years. So, and I can understand why the Democrats talk about reform. But who is it that Governor Palin is going to reform? You? The Senate? The Congress? The Republican Party?
That's a good line. Actually, you know, the Democrats have been in charge of both houses for the last 2 years. Seen any big improvement?
The point is, seen the great for the 8 and the 7 years before.
We're not talking about economy. We're not talking about housing. She was chosen to reform the government.
Because that's what she's done. That's what she's done.
Who is? But you chose it just to reform.
The Republican Party, the Democrat Party, even an independent. She'll reform all of Washington, just like she did by doing what she did in Alaska.
What is she going to reform specifically, Senator?
Well, first of all, earmark spending, which she vetoed $500 million worth in the state of Alaska.
She also took some earmark spending.
No, not as governor. She didn't. She vetoed. Well, look. The fact is that she was a reform governor. She took on a Republican governor of her own, incumbent governor of her own party, and defeated him. She sold the airplane. She fired the chef.
She sold the airplane at a loss.
She was very, well, you wanted her to keep it?
No, I wanted her to at least get her money back.
It was an 80% cut in spending.
If you chose it to reform.
The big point is she reformed government in Alaska. She freed Alaska, really for the first time.
What's the biggest reform?
You got to let me finish. You got to let me finish, okay? And that is that she took government out of the hands of the special interests and the oil companies and the old boy network and gave it back to the people of Alaska. That's a clear record of what she's accomplished.
What is she going to do in Washington?
And that's what we have to do in Washington. The same thing. Break the old boy network, the special interests that control our agenda in Washington, and like I have attempted to do and succeeded in some areas, because I have taken on my own party. I've taken on the Democrats, Republicans, my own president, and I've taken on the special interests, and I have not been elected Miss Congeniality every year.
Well, you used to be more like that, John. Why am I calling you John?
Shame on you.
You know, you used to be more of the maverick, then you sort of turned.
In what way?
Well, you became much more lockstep, I think, with your party, with George Bush's policies. I don't see the old John McCain, who used to really buck the system as much, because I can understand why. You want to get elected. But, you know...
I've been through this litany before when I say, okay, what specific area have I, quote, changed? Nobody can name it. I'm the same person that I always was. I'll be glad to have Whoopi do it. Yeah. But the point is that I'm the same person, and I have the same principles, and I have the same issues, whether it be spending, whether it be climate change, whether it be the conduct of the war in Iraq, whether it be torture of prisoners, no matter what it is, and fighting excess and wasteful spending, I'm the same guy.
You know what? I have to just, one more thing. There are ads running from your campaign. One of them is saying that Obama, when he said you can put lipstick on a pig, but it's still a pig, was talking about Sarah. There's another ad that says that Obama was interested in teaching sex education to kindergartners. Now, we know that those two ads are untrue. They're lies. And yet you, at the end of it, say, I approve these messages.
Actually,
do you really approve them?
Actually, they're not lies. And have you seen some of the ads that are running against me?
By the way, you yourself said the same thing about putting lipstick on a pig. You yourself used the same expression.
When I was talking about a health care plan.
Yeah, but he talked about change. He wasn't talking about Sarah Palin.
Senator Obama chooses his words very carefully, okay? He shouldn't have said it. He shouldn't have said it. He chooses his words very carefully. And this is a tough campaign. But I would be glad to come on this show with Senator Obama. I have asked Senator Obama to join me in town hall meetings all across America. I have requested it time after time.
That would be good for Sarah and Joe Biden, too.
That would be, yes, sure.
Well,
but the top of the ticket leads. Yeah. And if we had done what I asked Senator Obama to do, because I've been in a lot of other campaigns where I have appeared with the opposition in front of the people and listened to their hopes and dreams and aspirations, I don't think you'd see the tenor of this campaign.
Why do you
so
think
when
he's
Senator
not
Obama
doing?
Comes back on, why don't you ask him?
We will.
Say, why don't you come on on this show with Senator McCain? Go around the town hall meetings all over America.
You bring us Sarah Palin, we'll ask Barack Obama.
Barry Goldwater and President Kennedy had agreed to do way back a long time ago is go before the American people. Let's do that. I guarantee you that changes the tenor of campaigns. So let's do it.
One question before
Sure,
we go.
but we'll do when we come back because we don't want to lose any time with Senator McCain.
All right, then when we come back.
Presidential nominee, Senator John McCain. So, may I still call you J-Mac, or do I have to call you Mr. Senator now?
Anything you would like, Whoopi.
Now, I have a very straightforward question.
Good.
Because I'm curious about your choice for vice president. Do you believe in the separation of church and state?
Sure, sure.
So if you believe in the separation of church and state, did it not give you a moment of pause that Sarah Palin, should she, God forbid, anything happen to you, not have the same beliefs as you do about these things? Does that not give you a little bit of pause?
Whoopi, I read the statements of our founding fathers. Abraham Lincoln, she quoted, we shouldn't pray for God to be on our side, but for us to be on God's side. Judeo-Christian values were the foundation of our nation. In God we trust. Clearly a belief that God has a plan for the world and that we should do what we can to live as good a lives as we can and trust that God, in God we trust, will guide this nation and this world to a better existence.
If you don't believe in
God, you're entitled to that, not believing in God. But I think we should respect the views of those who believe in God and believe that we are a special nation, and it's a special world, and we believe that God does play a role, not in whether we win or lose elections, but whether we have a better world and a better future and better lives. So I think that's, I've said that many times, that I believe, because I have a fundamental faith, but I've always prayed, frankly, in prison. I would tell my friends, not that we'd get out of prison, but whether it would be God's will for us to get out of prison, because we were doing Caesar's work.
Right. No, I understand. I understand one's faith, but my question really goes to the greater part of the nation. Yes, we have Christian Judeo beliefs, but we also have Muslims in this country. We have Zoroastrians in this country. We have Wiccans in this country. And so my
Zoroastrian.
Yes.
Thank you. Good to see you.
But my question really goes to, you know, can you, as the president, should you win, can you govern this nation? Anybody who takes that seat, are you to govern this nation as God would have you do it, or do you govern this nation for the greater good of the people in it? And that's why I asked, do you believe in the separation of church and state? One of the reasons people stopped praying in schools is because we suddenly had so many different religions that one religion could not take over. Do you think that's a good idea?
I think everybody obviously is entitled to their individual faith and their beliefs, including the not believing in anything. But I pray every day for guidance and to do the right thing and not succumb to temptation and not be an imperfect servant and to do what is in the best interest of the country. I believe Roe v. Wade was a very bad decision, Barbara. I think it was a bad decision. But I've thought that other decisions of the United States Supreme Court were bad decisions. But I want people on the court and, quote, do interpret, and not just on the issue of Roe v. Wade, but on many other issues that I think.
Do I need to be worried about becoming a slave again?
My interpretation of the Constitution of the United States is that the United States Supreme Court enforces the Constitution of the United States and does not legislate nor invent areas that are the responsibilities, according to the Constitution, of the legislative branch.
So it was in how the law came up. It was in how Roe v. Wade came apart. That's the issue. You want it to be through the Constitution, from the people, not from the bench.
And I believe that if Roe v. Wade were overturned, then the states would make these decisions.
Yes.
And
Sir, can you just, and I don't want to misinterpret what you're saying. Did you say you wanted strict constitutionalists? Because no,
I want people who interpret the Constitution of the United States the way our founding fathers envisioned for them to do.
Should I be worried about being a slave, being returned to slavery? Because certain things happened in the Constitution that you had to change.
I understand your point.
Okay.
I understand that point, and I get it. Thank you.